bringing in Walid Phares right now. Walid is the former foreign policy advisor under President Trump and a national security and foreign affairs analyst. Walid, I want to pick up on or continue the China-Russia conversation. So are they hurting themselves or are they proving a point by not participating?
They will be hurting themselves if there is a consensus among the rest of the participants under a strong leadership with the president or with the administration. But basically what they're trying to do by not being here is to subtracting the legitimacy of such meetings. I mean, you have the whole world, meaning the 20 most influential economically members. It's almost like a super Security Council. If they do not attend, imagine if they do not attend the Security Council, it is somewhat a perception issue, and that will have to be repaired, in my view.
So then, in speaking of repairing and relationships, I want to talk in general, based on our reporting and what you're hearing from your contacts. How is President Biden doing? Is he able to, make headway in terms of diplomacy on behalf of the United States? Is he coming across as a strong leader? Tell me what your take is.
Look, Arthur, there are a lot of problems. I mean, everybody knows that. At least for the G20, I would say the following. Certainly the West European countries are in agreement with President Biden and his administration on the traditional matters, such as COVID. They are in agreement, such as environment, such as trade. But then there is a non-visible matter in Europe that is really bothering them, which is, and it's not even listed in the discussion seriously, the withdrawal from Afghanistan. The consequence of the withdrawal from Afghanistan are waves of jihadists that may hit Europe, and that is something that they are very bothered about. And also the fact that the Biden administration did not complete the return to the Iran deal. So you have pluses and you have minuses. Now, two more important players, Brazil, for example, is not satisfied with its relationship with this administration on the COVID matters, on the environment matters. And of course, you have Saudi Arabia standing with the United States, but very nervous about Iran. So divided.
But a couple of things. If you're saying that the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan is on the minds of those world leaders, they've got the president right there. Why not say something? Secretary of State Blinken is right there. Why won't they say something to them?
They don't want to be seen by the Americans and by their public opinion as the reason for why the G20 could collapse or divide. But I am pretty sure that at the level of secretaries, at least, the foreign secretaries of these members, there are discussions, and not just at the G20. Those discussions have been taking place for a while. But their public opinion inside, let's say, France or Britain or Germany are very nervous about the way the United States withdrew, because that could also impact other countries in the region. I mean, there are meetings now between Russia and China and Pakistan about what? About Afghanistan. So we basically have almost no influence on what's happening in that part of the world. And
you mentioned Iran. What's your position on getting back into the Iran nuclear deal? I mean, because they're moving ahead with developing their nuclear capabilities, and it's not for energy purposes, and they're just kind of going rogue, doing whatever they want to do. So how should the United States, particularly President Biden, respond to that?
Here's the problem, Marthel. We have removed, meaning the administration, since 9 months now or 8 months, all the tools that can force Iran to behave and to reintegrate the international community, starting with a statement by the Iranians that they want to let go of their nuclear weapon program, as South Africa did or Ukraine did many decades ago. So now our position is very weak because we withdrew from Afghanistan, and let me remind you, that was a pressure on Iran. We are actually on our way to leave Iraq. That's the other pressure that we had. We have actually pressured Saudi Arabia and the UAE and other Arab countries not to put a lot of pressure on a massive Iranian ally in Yemen. So now we're going to the table of negotiations at the Iranian timing. Everybody is waiting for Iran to make up their mind, and they are using that time as much as they can to get the best conditions. And what they really want is for us to remove the sanctions, and then they will stroll towards these negotiations. So I don't think we're doing strategically well on the negotiations with Iran.
Last thing, Walid, sticking on Iran, Eric had a guest earlier in our new newscast, and he had a very ominous prediction saying that the only way, or not the only way, but it seems pretty likely that the only thing that Iran will listen to and be stopped by is military action on the part of the U.S. What do you think about that?
That is my article in Al Arabiya for the next few days to come now. But let me say this. What is important as a potential military or ground action against Iran is who will be in that coalition. That's crucial. Now you have an Arab coalition, which was formed, by the way, in 2017. That will be Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, and others. It's very important that they are part of such decision, if there is a decision. You have Israel, thanks to the Abraham Accord that is now working with some Arab countries, and obviously you have a decision to be made by the United States, by the Biden administration. What is more important? The national security of Israel, the Arab coalition, and of course, most importantly, the United States, or that deal?
A conundrum for sure. I want to keep talking. You'll stand by. We're going to be here for a couple of hours, so stand by for us, Walid Phares.